Welcome to Real Talk Daily, where real conversations about life, relationships, and emotions come alive. Real Talk Daily, real voices, real stories, every single day. Hey everyone, welcome back to Real Talk Daily. Today we are talking about a country that millions of people dream of visiting. Whenever you open YouTube, TikTok, or Instagram, you can find thousands of videos showing clean streets, incredibly fast trains, quiet cities, delicious food, and people who seem unbelievably polite. Of course, we're talking about Japan. But today, instead of simply saying, Japan is amazing, we want to ask a much more interesting question. Why does Japan feel so different from many other countries?
I love that question because Japan is one of those places that surprises people again and again. Even if you have watched hundreds of travel videos, you still discover something new every time. Some visitors say they are shocked by how clean everything is. Others cannot believe how quiet public transportation is. Some people are amazed by the technology, while others fall in love with the culture and traditions.
Exactly. And honestly, every time I watch videos from Japan, I find myself asking the same question. How can one country feel so modern and so traditional at exactly the same time? You can see a 200-year-old temple on one street, and just a few minutes later, you're standing in front of robots serving food or one of the fastest trains in the world.
That contrast is one of the most fascinating things about Japan. The country has embraced modern technology, but at the same time, it has protected traditions that have existed for hundreds of years. Many people believe those traditions are one of the reasons Japanese society functions so smoothly.
Speaking of society, that's actually our first vocabulary word today, society.
Yes, society means the people living together in a country or community and the way they organize their lives. For example, when we talk about Japanese society, we are talking about how people behave, how they interact with each other, and the values they share.
I think that's an important word because today's episode isn't really about buildings or technology. It's about people.
Exactly. Buildings don't keep cities clean. People do. Trains don't become quiet by themselves. People choose to respect others. Technology is impressive, but culture often explains why a country works the way it does.
And that brings us to another word we'll hear many times today, respect.
Respect means treating other people, places, and even public spaces with care and consideration. In Japan, respect is taught from a very young age. Children often learn that their actions affect everyone around them, not just themselves.
I actually read something that surprised me. In many Japanese schools, students help clean their own classrooms instead of having cleaners do everything for them.
Yes, and that's true in many schools. Students sweep the floors, clean the desks, and even help keep shared spaces tidy. The idea is that cleaning is not somebody else's responsibility. Everyone shares responsibility for the environment.
That is very different from what many people are used to.
It is. And that simple habit teaches responsibility, teamwork, and respect from an early age.
Another thing that really surprised me is how quiet public transportation is. I've watched videos of trains in Tokyo during rush hour. The trains are completely full, but people are speaking very softly or not speaking at all. Most passengers are reading, listening to music, or simply looking out of the window.
That's true. In many places, talking loudly on public transportation is considered impolite because other passengers are trying to relax or travel peacefully.
Which gives us another useful word, polite.
Yes, polite means showing good manners and treating other people respectfully. Saying please, saying thank you, waiting patiently, speaking quietly in appropriate places. All of these are examples of polite behavior.
I think many visitors notice that almost immediately. They often say they feel calmer in Japan because people seem more patient and more aware of those around them.
I agree, but it's important to remember something.
That's a really important point because social media often shows only the beautiful side of a country.
Exactly. Every country has strengths and weaknesses. Today, we're simply trying to understand what makes Japan unique and why so many people around the world find it fascinating.
And in the next part, I want to talk about something that almost every visitor notices immediately. Why are Japanese cities so incredibly clean even though you can hardly find public trash bins? Honestly, that still feels like a mystery to me.
I know, and the answer is probably not what most people expect.
Stay with us. Before the break, I asked a question that honestly still surprises me every time I think about it. How can a country be so clean when there are almost no public trash bins? Every travel video I watch about Japan mentions the same thing. Tourists keep saying, "I couldn't find a trash can anywhere, but the streets were spotless." That sounds impossible.
I know exactly what you mean. It sounds strange at first because many people think the solution to clean streets is simply adding more trash bins. But in Japan, the situation is different. Instead of expecting someone else to clean up after them, many people simply take their rubbish home if they cannot find a bin.
Honestly, I don't know if I could get used to that. If I finished drinking a bottle of water while walking around the city, my first instinct would be to look for a trash can.
Most visitors feel exactly the same. But after spending a few days in Japan, many people say they naturally start carrying a small bag for their rubbish until they get home or find a place to throw it away.
That tells us something important. The system only works because people cooperate.
Exactly. And that gives us today's vocabulary word, cooperate.
That's a great word.
To cooperate means to work together to achieve something. A clean city is much easier to maintain when millions of people cooperate instead of expecting someone else to solve every problem.
I think that's one of the biggest differences. In many places, people ask, "Why doesn't the government clean this?" But in Japan, many people first ask themselves, "What can I do to help keep this place clean?"
That's a very good observation. Of course, the government still plays an important role, but everyday habits make a huge difference.
Another story I hear all the time is about lost wallets.
Oh yes, that's one of my favorite examples.
I have watched several interviews where tourists said they accidentally dropped their wallet or phone, and somehow everything was returned to them with nothing missing. Honestly, if I heard that once, I might think it was just luck, but I keep hearing the same story again and again.
It happens surprisingly often. Many people who find lost items take them directly to a nearby police station or a lost and found office. They simply believe it is the right thing to do.
That's incredible.
It really is. And it reflects another important value in Japanese culture, honesty.
Honesty is another useful word.
Yes, honesty means telling the truth and doing the right thing, even when nobody is watching. Returning a lost wallet without taking anything is a great example of honesty.
I think that would make everyday life much less stressful. Imagine knowing that if you accidentally left your phone somewhere, there is a good chance somebody would try to return it.
Exactly. And because people trust each other more, society often functions more smoothly.
Speaking of things that work smoothly, we have to talk about the trains.
Definitely.
I remember reading that if a train in Japan is delayed by only a minute or two, some passengers actually receive an official note explaining the delay. That completely surprised me because in many countries, people are happy if the train arrives within 15 minutes of the scheduled time.
That is true. Japan is famous for its punctuality.
That's another great vocabulary word.
Yes, punctuality means arriving exactly on time or very close to the planned time. Japanese train companies take punctuality very seriously because millions of people depend on public transportation every single day.
And I suppose when everybody expects trains to be on time, people can plan their day much more efficiently.
Exactly. Imagine going to work, school, or an important meeting every day, knowing your train will almost always arrive when it's supposed to. That level of reliability makes life much easier.
I think that's another reason so many people admire Japan. It's not just one amazing thing. It's lots of small habits working together every single day.
I completely agree. Respect, honesty, cooperation, and punctuality may sound like simple ideas, but when millions of people practice them consistently, they create something truly impressive.
And in the final part, I want to talk about something that many people don't realize. Even though Japan looks almost perfect from the outside, the country also faces some very serious challenges that are becoming bigger every year.
Yes, Japan has many strengths, but it also has important problems that deserve attention.
Stay with us. So far, we've talked about Japan's clean cities, respectful culture, honest people, and incredibly punctual trains. Honestly, after hearing all of this, it almost sounds like Japan is the perfect country, but I know that's probably not the whole story. Every country has challenges, so what are some of the biggest problems Japan is facing today?
That's a really important question because social media usually shows only the best parts of a country. Beautiful streets, amazing food, advanced technology, and famous tourist attractions get millions of views. But everyday life is always more complicated than a short video. Japan has many strengths, but it also faces some serious challenges that people don't always see.
I've heard one of the biggest challenges is the population.
Exactly. Japan has one of the oldest populations in the world. People are living longer, which is wonderful, but at the same time, fewer babies are being born every year. That means the country's population has been slowly decreasing for several years.
That's actually surprising because when I think about Japan, I imagine busy cities full of people.
Cities like Tokyo are still very crowded, but if you travel to smaller towns and villages, you'll notice a different picture. Some schools have very few students. Many young people move to large cities for work, and some rural communities continue getting smaller every year.
That brings us to another useful vocabulary word, population.
Yes, population simply means the number of people living in a particular place. When we say Japan's population is declining, we mean fewer people are living there than before.
I also read that many young Japanese people are waiting longer before getting married or starting a family.
That's true. Many people want financial stability before making those decisions. Living costs can be high, work can be demanding, and many young adults feel pressure to build their careers first.
Speaking of work, another thing people often hear about Japan is its work culture.
Yes, Japanese people are known for being hardworking and dedicated. Those qualities have helped Japan become one of the world's strongest economies. However, working very long hours can also create stress and make it difficult to maintain a healthy work-life balance.
Work-life balance is becoming an important topic in many countries, not just Japan.
Absolutely. More companies are encouraging employees to spend time with family, rest properly, and take vacations because productivity is not only about working longer. It's also about staying healthy and motivated.
I think that's something many people around the world can relate to.
Definitely. Every country has something to learn from others. Japan teaches us about respect, responsibility, honesty, and cooperation. At the same time, Japan is also working to solve challenges like population decline and workplace pressure.
I like that perspective because sometimes people think one country has all the answers, but reality is never that simple.
Exactly. Every society has strengths and weaknesses. The goal isn't to find the perfect country, it's to understand different cultures and learn from them.
And honestly, that's one of my favorite things about traveling. You don't just see different places, you discover different ways of thinking.
I completely agree. Sometimes a small habit from another culture can completely change the way you see your own daily life.
So maybe that's why Japan fascinates so many people. It's not because it's perfect, it's because it does some things differently, and those differences make people curious.
I think that's the perfect way to end today's conversation.
Today we explored Japanese culture, respect, honesty, clean cities, public transportation, and some of the country's biggest challenges. Hopefully, you also learned some useful English along the way.
Thank you so much for spending time with us today.
If you enjoyed this episode, let us know which country you'd like us to explore next.
There are so many fascinating places around the world, and we'd love to discover them together.
Until next time, keep practicing your English, stay curious, and never stop learning.
Thanks for listening to Real Talk Daily.
See you in the next episode.